And I would like to give an example of the way French Canadians survived in throughout the last centuries. But we were all of a sudden surrounded by a massive immigration of Protestants from England and other British colonies, and we were absolutely threatened of annihilation. And what is interesting is that the only way we survived is by our birth rate. So we had the highest birth rate almost in the world, and we call that this episode La Revanche des Berceaux in French, and it means the revenge of cradles. The revenge of cradles. So French Canadians survived because they were so many. They had so many children that the Anglo Protestants who were getting established in their midst were just submerged by the children of French Canadians. So I think it's a good lesson for us because Novus Ordo people, leftists, Protestants, normies, as we sometimes call them, everyone practices contraception today. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the world is ours if we maintain our large families. You know, it's not an agenda that we have. We're trying to please God. But in other words, if we Christians, if we who know the true God have large families, well, we are going to take back the Christian society. If, on the contrary, we fall into the same deception as the rest of the world, and we're trying to limit the number of our children for no good reason, well, we're going to end up disappearing as the rest of the world. So I think that's one thing that's very important to remember. Also, I think it's important to remind people that the main danger we're facing today, including in tradition, is not the fact that families are too large. It is rather the fact that easily, even though you were born in a large family, your parents did the right thing, you get married, and you end up having a contraceptive spirit and not willing to take upon your shoulders the burden that your parents have carried and the reason why you're there today. Because Catholic parents should remember that when they bring forth a child in the world, it is someone whose salvation, if I could say, salvation rate is very high. You're born in a Catholic family, you will be taught the true faith, you will be kept in the true Catholic worship, which is the true Latin Mass, etc. When you Catholic parents have a child, well, it is someone who will have the faith, very likely will keep the faith, will know God's commandments, will be taught how to put them in practice, etc. So you have to consider the children that God sends you as a great gift that God, and a great trust as well that God has for you. He entrusts to your care his children, his elect, those who will be one day, hopefully, with him in paradise. So let's really put aside the contraceptive spirit, and let's be proud of having large families, of sacrificing for them, of giving them a good Catholic education. I think it's the greatest service you can render to the church and to our nations.